Umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri yetu. Tukuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at arms can ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The Speaker has directed that quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. This is, of course, pursuant to the House Standing Order. Remember, this is a plenary sitting, and at the commencement of the House business, members that are needed to be present for the House to have achieved its quorum is 15 members. But at the commencement of the House, if there is not that a required number present in the chambers, then the Speaker will order that a quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. Of course, this is to let members who may be within the precincts of Parliament but yet to get to the chambers to be able to make their way to the chambers. Back to the business of the day is that the Senate this morning is sitting to hear and determine the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Dr. Robert Monda. This is the Deputy Governor of Kisii County, and this follows the vote by the Kisii County Assembly 2 weeks ago to have the governor be removed from office, of course, accusing him of 4 charges. This include gross violation of the Constitution, abuse of office, gross misconduct, and crimes under national law. The Senate last week decided or voted to have this impeachment process be done by way of plenary after attempts to establish the 11-member committee that would also have looked into this matter failed, and the members decided that this matter be looked at by way of plenary. That is what will be taking place from this morning. The sitting is beginning at 9 a.m. But what we know is that we will be receiving a communication from the Speaker at from 9 to 9:20. This is according to the order of business for the Senate. This communication, of course, remember there are 2 parties involved in this. The Senate being the determinant of this particular case. So the 2 parties include the County Assembly as well as the Deputy Governor's side. So in this sitting, we will have the senators inside the chambers as well as the County Assembly side and the Deputy Governor's side, and the Speaker will make a communication. This is, of course, to welcome the parties or those in the chambers, and, of course, acknowledge their presence and indicate that this sitting will be done in a plenary way. And, of course, later After that particular communication, the senators will proceed on a closed session. This is a pre-hearing meeting for the senators in a closed session from 9:20 to around 11 a.m., where the senators will be furnished by the documents or the documentation that has been brought forth by both parties to the Senate with regards to the case before the Senate. This is a quorum bell that is underway. 15 members need to be inside the chambers for the House to commence its business, and this is pursuant to the House Standing Order, much as the chair is taken. But if the House does not have the required number of members inside, then the House cannot commence its businesses because the quorum has not been achieved, and the House has to abide by the standing order. So the bell will be on, and once the quorum is achieved, then the sergeant at arms will alert the clerk, and the speaker will call the House to order for the proceedings to continue. Remember, once the county assembly forwarded the letters for the proposed removal from office of the Kisii deputy governor to the Senate, both parties, that is the Speaker of the County Assembly of Kisii and the Deputy County Governor of Kisii, were on 8th of March 2024 served by the Senate with invitations to appear before the Senate. That is today, the 13th of March, the year 2024. And these parties were required to file their documentation with the office of the clerk of the Senate by 5 p.m. Monday. This is the Monday of 11th of March 2024. And in this case, the parties were meant to indicate the mode of appearance before the Senate, whether they will be in person or by advocate, or in person and by advocate. So in this case, we will be seeing the parties, that is the county assembly. We will be getting to know who their side of legal team is, who their witnesses are, and in the documentation, if they have audio or if they have videos or they have sworn affidavits, among other documentation that they will have deemed fit to present before the Senate to support their case. The side of the deputy governor also will be able to know, we will be able to know who their legal team is just in a few minutes, and their witnesses, if they have any videos or any audio that they would like to present before the Senate to counter these accusations that is or that are facing the deputy governor of Kisii County. The required documentation that both parties were required to furnish the office of the clerk of the Senate also include, for the county assembly, the designation of not more than 3 members of the county assembly who would attend and represent the assembly in the proceedings before the Senate. Also, the names and addresses of the persons to be called as witnesses, if any, that is for both parties, and witness statements containing a summary of the evidence to be presented by witnesses before the House, and any other evidence that will be relied on as the hearing and the determination of this particular impeachment progresses. The submissions by the County Assembly of Kisii to the Senate is that the County Assembly would appear before the Senate in person and by advocate. So in this case, later in the proceedings, once the Senate is done with its closed session, the County Assembly will be invited to introduce the team, the legal team that will be representing them. Remember, when it wrote to the Senate, it indicated that it would appear before the Senate in person and by advocates. So in this case, they will be required to introduce their legal team as well, and also introduce their witnesses, if any, before the Senate. The County Assembly team of advocates that will be representing it include Mr. Ndegwa Njiru, Mr. Elias Mutuma, Mr. Ndegwa Charles Mwangi, Ms. Anne Munyoki, and Mr. Victor Wahomemburu, who is an IT technical production person. This is the team of advocates, or the legal team, that the County Assembly presented the names before the Senate that will be representing them in arguing out their case for the proposed removal from office of the Deputy Governor of Kisii. If you are just joining us, is that the Senate this morning is holding a plenary sitting to hear. All right, allow me to hand you over the Speaker.
Senator Chute. Quorum now. Clerk, kindly proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, communication from the chair.
Honorable Senators, you will record